This is Johnny Harris. He's a journalist, but he's making a video on $100 million lifestyle versus $100 billion lifestyle.
This is what $100 million looks like. 100 million $1 bills. Look at this. Okay, but watch this. This is what $100 billion looks like.
That's what you guys think I make.
Whoa. That's $100 billion. There's like 19 people on Earth that have this much money. Oh, and by the way, one of these guys just bought a house right up the road here in Washington, D.C. Remember when we did the piles of cash? This is what $100,000 looked like when we did that visualization.
You do.
So yeah, we're in a whole different echelon now. I want to show you the lifestyles of people who are worth this much money versus this.
Hold on, what did he say that little itty bitty chunk of change right there was?
Remember when we did the piles of cash? This is what $100,000 looked like when we did people who are worth money versus this much money. So we've been talking to experts, interviewing people who work with the ultra wealthy to construct real world scenarios of what these people's lives look like, what kind of influence they have in society, to understand what and who they can buy.
It's like pennies to these.
By the way, we're launching a meet.
My name is Scott.
7 out of 10
I started a candy company and I grew it over many years, and I eventually sold it to a big, giant candy corporation. And because I started the company, I own most of it, and so I got a huge payout from this sale. Between that and a bunch of other investments over the years, I now have a net worth of $100 million.
Damn!
Wow, that's a big number.
You know what's crazy for like the average? Okay, I know what he's gonna say, but I'm gonna ask, how do you even spend $100 million? Think about how much money that is, bro. Most of the things, cars, homes. After you buy the greatest crib and the greatest car, you still have 90 million left over. You have 90% of your money left over. Strippers? Okay, that's not what I thought. Travel. You would never run through that amount traveling. You would have to get the bougiest hotel in every city you go to. I think, and this is my guess, the only real answer is businesses, yachts, or jets. I think if you're not buying one of those three, it should be humanly impossible to run out of $100 million.
My primary residence is New York City, where 818 other centi-millionaires live. Centi-millionaires, like 100 millionaires. I'll show you my New York City house in just a second. But first, let's talk about my fortune and how I can spend it. Now, I can't actually spend my fortune right now because all of it is in the stock market. The upside to that is that it grows and grows. My portfolio grows at 10% every year. So what if I just sell this $10 million return I got this year? This could fund some of my lifestyle. Ugh, but look at all these taxes. All in all, it's like 37% of that $10 million. I guess it still leaves me with 6.3 million bucks to spend. And look, I didn't even have to touch my portfolio. I'm still worth $100 million. Wait, is this video just tax calculations? No. Let's go find a house.
New York? Of course they do. That's where they all live, man. That's where all the billionaires live at.
My budget for a house is anywhere between $8 and $15 million.
You know what's crazy about that? I know people. I would spend $100 million on a jar of your sock lint in my din din poo. You're so lucky I didn't get a chance to see who wrote that. Who wrote that? Garcia. Get your fucking life together, my nigga. Okay? Even somebody with $100 million only spends 8 to 15% of their money on their crib. Okay? So why do people that have $20,000 spend all $20,000 on a car? Agent, I'm thinking about buying this car. Why would you spend 100%? Nigga. And you can't say I need it for work because everybody knows you can get cars for cheaper than $20,000. $20,000 is not the floor.
Which sources told us is common at this level. And even though I live in one of the most expensive and crowded cities on Earth, with my budget, I can find a pretty sick house, I think. Okay, let's look around. Boy, there's some nice options here.
In New York, that penthouse we had last year when we got kicked out of, that was $17 million.
This nice apartment in Midtown Manhattan. The listing tells me that this is the epitome of refined living. A superior pre-war white glove cooperative. What does that mean? 4 bedrooms, 4 bath. This sun-kissed airy
Rich fuckers.
Airy.
I mean, we rented it. So.
This sun-kissed
We're the poor ones, he's the
Airy
rich
is
one.
one of the crown jewels of the Tony Enclave. What is it? Am I reading like a
Airy.
different language?
The
What is the
sun-kissed
Tony
Airy.
Enclave? I don't know what any of those words mean. Sorry. But I do know that it has a semi-private elevator and is the perfect setting for alfresco entertaining. And me, 100 millionaire, I am super into alfresco entertaining.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is looking like a pretty great house. It's got this super romantic painting above the mantle. And in addition to my real library, I also get a bathroom that kind of looks like one. By the way, this is only my primary residence. It's not my only home. I've got a couple vacation homes
Johnny's standing
around
like
the
he gotta
country
take a piss.
and the world. This one in Miami, which is increasingly a playground
now
for
we're
the ultra
talking.
rich, and this one in the south of France.
Of course.
And both of these have full-time housekeepers. Let's talk about my vacations. I visit these houses a couple times a year, but for my other vacations, I'll maybe go to the Hamptons because I love to watch polo. There's this great polo match in July, and I buy a VIP ticket that will cost me only $3,500. Or lately I've been getting into F1, and so maybe I'll go to the race in Monaco. I'll stay at this Hotel Heritage, oh no, Hermitage. I'll stay at the Hotel Hermitage, Monte Carlo, for just 22,000 euros a night, which is like
22,000 euros a night? What? I better be getting head on demand, my nigga. Hourly fellatio. No excuses.
$25,000 per night. Okay, let's get to the F1 race.
And the Monaco Grand Prix is underway.
Fuck no.
No one told me I needed to bring my swimsuit to the
A
F1
night.
race. I'm feeling
Just
a little overdressed.
22,000. What a bargain, dude. Fucking bargain.
Food's great, chef. It's a great view. Let's get to the race. I'm planning on watching the F1 race from a private yacht. The ticket was $16,000.
What a fucking
And look at the
loser,
benefits
bro.
here. I get to walk around in the pit. I get to meet the drivers.
$16,000 to watch
and
it
I
on a
even
yacht, you
get
fucking geek.
VIP tenders? Oh, not that kind of tender. Just a fancy boat that brings me out to the yacht. Anyway, something's bothering me. Remember when I
Just had
showed
me
you I
excited
could
for a second.
sell
I thought,
off
hold on, I thought some good tenders was inside. Hey, nigga. I said, hold on. I said it might be worth it. How good are these tenders, my nigga?
returns that I made this year from my stocks and still come out with millions of dollars of cash to spend?
What's the
Well,
floor
I
for a
really
decent
like having
car?
to sell off all those
Decent?
returns
Like 7K.
And then have to pay like over 30%.
Not gonna
in
break down on you all the
taxes.
time?
Me
Like
and
7K.
everyone else you'll see in this video don't like to sell our portfolio, our assets, to get cash.
But you can get a
Because
cheap
that
one for like
triggers
4.
all of these taxes. It gives us less power.
Anything
in the
over like
companies
12
we
is
own.
like good. Like
Instead,
valid.
we like to get cash through a bunch of other ways, using our vast fortune. My favorite trick is to go to the bank and to ask
thank
for a
you for
loan.
resub.
Wait, what? I'm a super rich guy. Why do I need a loan? Well, let me show you. The bank will loan me a lot of money if I put my huge investment portfolio up for collateral, meaning they can come after it if I don't pay the loan back, or if I default or something. Okay, how much can I get in a loan? Well, according to the bank UBS, I could borrow up to 85% of the value of my investment portfolio, which remember is $100 million. So I could potentially get a loan for $85 million.
What?
Another bank, Merrill Lynch, says that they will give at least 50% of the value of your portfolio. But regardless, we're talking tens of millions of dollars that I can borrow and spend. And guess what? I pay 0 taxes on this money because it's not income, it's technically debt. Okay, wait, but it's a loan. So I'm accruing interest, right? This isn't free money. I'm gonna have to pay it back someday.
Hold on! Double, thank you for the resub. They borrow money off the strength of their giant stock portfolio? Insane loophole. So they don't. Not only they have $100 million, but instead of using the $100 million, they invest all $100 million of the dollars. Okay, and then they don't even want to use the money they make from the profit from the investments going up. They would rather get debt and just pay off whatever little interest it is, using their portfolio as collateral. That's frankly genius and evil at the same exact time.
and likely have to pay it back with post-tax money. So it's not free money. What's the deal here? Why am I doing this? Well, according to a lot of good reporting from the Wall Street Journal, people
what would the interest rate be on that?
More can get quoted on an interest rate as low as 0.8.
Say fucking goodbye, my nigga. You're fucking lying. You're fucking lying. You are fucking lying. They have to pay a less than a 1% interest rate. How would the bank even make money from that?
7%. Super low. In reality, today, under these conditions and with my net worth, let's just be really, really conservative and say that my interest rate on the loan is more like 5.9%. It's a lot higher than 1%. But watch what happens. This allows me to not have to touch my investment portfolio. I don't have to take out that $10 million of stocks and pay a bunch of taxes. And that is growing at 10% a year. Way more than the interest on this loan. Now watch what happens over time. This is the value of that $10 million left in my portfolio, and this is how much I owe on the loan I took out. That's a nice looking graph. My wealth is growing way faster than the interest on my loan is accruing. So this tax-free debt thing is awesome, and it's one way that I will turn my net worth into spendable cash without having to sell off any of my stocks in my portfolio.
Oh. Bro.
Okay, no more tax math.
Literally infinite
I want to
money
buy
glitch.
some more stuff. It's
Bro,
time.
and this is the $100 million guy, bro. I don't even want to know what glitch the 100 billion niggas discovered, bro. I don't even know if laws apply to them. If the 100 billion part was just him saying, oh yeah, nobody prosecutes them, I wouldn't be fucking surprised.
Talk about private jets and yachts. Sadly, I can't afford the private jet that I want. Womp womp. But this doesn't mean I don't fly private. These days, I can easily just book a jet like this one. It can take me from New York to Miami, and it only costs me $15,000.
Dude, that's it?
I can get from LA
Just
to Australia for
$15,000?
$200,000 on this private jet. $200,000 seems like a lot, but let's compare it to the median net worth of a US household, which is $192,000. The median net worth of a household, not a person, a household. Spending $200,000 on this flight to Australia feels the same for me as a median household spending $384 for this ticket. Pretty doable for a flight to Australia. Now, I can get a better deal on these private flights if I pre-purchase a jet card like this.
Like a
I fill it up
PlayStation.
with prepaid private jet hours. Prices range from...
So, buying a $200,000 private jet for a 100 millionaire is like a regular guy buying a PlayStation. That's very depressing, bro.
$5,000 to $7,000 per hour for a small private jet, and up to $20,000 an hour for a bigger, longer range.
He's charting, not buying.
Maybe someday I'll own
Yeah.
my
Just
own
like a
private
little
jet,
one time.
But my budget of $10 million doesn't really get me the fancy one that I want. I'll opt to
You think
charter
rich
for
people
that.
make fun of
What
each
I
other for
can
their
afford
lame
is a
private
fairly
jets?
large staff to run my life. I have 18 full-time staff members, and that's a real number of staff for people of this net worth from a Morgan Stanley report. I've got a personal driver, I've got a shopper, I've got a butler, a chef, a laundry person. I'm super into security, so I've got a head of security and a bunch of security guards. I have a personal handler who sets up all the logistics of stuff I want to do. Like I want to go yacht shopping this weekend. They're handling all of it. Oh, that's him now. Hey, Brad. Yeah, for the yacht show this weekend, can you make sure I
Wait, pause. Ray's calling. Hey, fucking yo.
get some VIP tenders? No, the chicken ones. Oh, and I almost forgot, my most important staff members are the financial and legal experts who find the most clever ways to reduce how much taxes I have to pay. Which, my wealth manager, Jeff, keeps selling off all my stocks at a loss, and we're like losing money. Jeff, what are you doing back there?
Don't worry, Scott. This is called a wash sale and I know what I'm doing.
A wash
You get
sale?
back to yacht shopping.
Loss harvesting, wash sale. I don't understand it all. Jeff does though. Anyway, back to yacht shopping.
What is
Wow,
that?
Look at these yachts.
Explain that one to me.
I'm actually sad to discover that I'm on the lower end of ultra wealth. So my yacht is actually not that fancy. It's not a super yacht, that's for sure.
Yo, it's just like the mindset of a nigga thinking to himself like, ugh, dude, look at my poor yacht. It's funny to think about because I think to everybody else, $100 million is like a type of money you can't spend. But it's interesting to think that somebody could have that type of generational wealth, okay? And think to themselves, oh, dude, I'm on the low end of people who have yachts. Ugh, look at my small boat, dude. It doesn't even have 2 floors. That's insane to think that that's like a thought people have, man. It's fucking fascinating.
It looks more like this. It costs a little over $1 million. I might splurge and get this guy. Costs more like $6 million, but this is still pretty entry level. Because at this point, yes, I've got loads of money.
A $7 million
buy
entry
and travel
level
and
yacht.
live how I want. But what separates me from the big dogs who we're about to see is yachts and private jets, but also influence in society.
When you sell a stock, that's when they can tax you. So when you sell at a loss, you can report that to the IRS depreciation. Oh, okay. I mean, you can do that with anything, not just taxes, but
I do some donating.
Yeah, I'm familiar
I donate
with
a bunch of money to politics. I gave $900,000 to a PAC that supports the candidates that I hope will win. I also belong to the invite-only Aman Club, which I had to pay a $200,000 initiation fee for. My membership fee is $15,000 a year, and I get to rub shoulders with people way richer than me, like Bill Gates, and even the Kardashians show up every once in a while. But this isn't real influence. I'm kind of paying for access. It's nothing like we're gonna see once we cross the $1 billion mark.
Hey, since we're talking about money, can we...
And I know better than that. What a fucking loser, dude. He pays money to join a club to network? What a fucking geek. Oh, Agent, it's smart. $200,000, you fucking loser? Ugh.
All right, now let's 10x this and get to $1 billion.
$1 billion!
Forbes says that there's about 3,000 people on Earth.
This is LeBron right here, Chad. This is LeBron level right now.
My name is Javier. I was a moderately wealthy guy for a while, but I randomly wrote a $200,000 check to a couple of young guys in Silicon Valley who had a startup.
21K cuff, they would have 10 with 3 subs.
4% equity in their company, and then their company blew up and is now worth $80 billion. After some dilution, my $200,000 check is now worth $1 billion. That's my net worth. So how do I get liquid cash to spend from my vast fortune? Well, I don't want to sell any of my stake in the tech company I invested in because I have voting rights. I can control how it is. In fact, like Scott, I don't want to sell any of my portfolio for cash. Instead, I will generate money in other ways. I'll go back to the old debt trick that we saw with Scott. Even if I get a loan that's 2% of my vast portfolio, I'm looking at $20 million of tax-free cash, all without having to touch my portfolio, which continues to grow in the market at 10% a year. That $20 million that I didn't have to take out of my portfolio is just in the market, is growing nice and fast. And look, after 5 years, my portfolio has grown way more than the interest on this loan. I can easily pay back the loan right now and still have extra to spare. Okay, let's talk houses. Where do I live? Of course, New York City. More billionaires than anywhere else in the world. I live up on the Upper East Side. Look at this beautiful home. 6 bedrooms, 17,000 square feet Manhattan apartment. It cost me $57.5 million. This was actually 2 huge multi-million-dollar houses that they combined into one. Just cuz. It's got a pool with my favorite inspirational quotes on the wall, a basketball court on the roof, but this is not my only home.
My nigga.
It is one of 7 that I own.
7 properties. Let me guess. This one's Aspen.
An Aspen.
This one is San Francisco.
In Lake Garda, Dubai, St. Bart's, and of course, downtown Paris. And look, I finally own a private jet. Yes. No more chartering or prepaid flight cards. I've got my own private jet and it is sick. Look at this thing.
Wow.
Cost me $75 million. And I have to pay $3 million a year just to maintain it. Like I have to pay $135,000 just to store it in a hangar. I pay $600,000 a year on fuel and $45,000 just on like basic maintenance. Oh, and I have a full-time pilot and crew. I spend over $700,000 just to keep them retained as my full-time flight attendants. And I finally can buy a respectable yacht.
$700,000
Like, look at this one. It's 131 feet long. It's got a pool and a hot tub on the deck. It can carry 11 guests.
This is hijacked. Hey, man, it's the map we just played.
131 feet long. It's got a pool and a hot tub on the deck. It can carry 11 guests and 9 crew members. And like my PJ, I have to pay a full-time crew to run this thing year-round, even though I only use it a few times a year. My vacations look pretty similar to Scott's. A lot of expensive VIP access, but just a little more elevated. Like I paid $3 million to watch the Super Bowl in this suite with Taylor Swift and a bunch of other rich
Fucking
people.
loser,
The difference
dude.
between me and Scott is I get invited to stuff that I don't even have to pay for because we're kind of all a little bit post money at this point. Like the Monaco Yacht Show, they have an exclusive opening day. Scott was paying $2,200 for a ticket, but I'm one of the 200 people that they just invited to the VIP experience. And in fact, where Scott's vacation...
Wait, I don't get that. Why invite the billionaire that has so much money to shit out? Like, wouldn't you want to charge the billionaire? The billionaire is gonna give less a fuck than the broke person about spending money. What kind of, maybe I don't get it. What is the business model where the billionaire would get the $22,000 yacht thing for free? No, sorry, the 100 millionaire has to pay $22,000, but the billionaire gets it for free. Connections. Yeah, but the connection, what's the profit though? At what point do these events make money off the billionaire? They just want billionaires around for aura?
Were about lavish, opulent hotels and experiences. I have kind of a different vibe. I care mostly about,
You know, like if it's like a famous billionaire, then maybe you give it to him thinking he's gonna promote it.
privacy and security. In fact, the places I stay look a lot more like this from the street. Unassuming, not drawing any attention.
All
But
billionaires are
behind these
famous.
walls,
No,
I've
they're
got
not.
everything I need for my vacation. My security team flew in a few days earlier to secure the property, and then I arrive with my butler, my chef, even my personal doctor is on site. I've got a dog walker who I pay to just hang out with my dog, and of course my luxury travel coordinator who just zipped into town to connect with the brands she's been communicating with. They're planning to come to my villa to set up my own personal store in one of the many bedrooms.
lying.
So that
The
I
store
can
comes
browse
to
the
you?
latest fashion without leaving my villa. By the way, that's a real example
Bro,
from our
do
reporting.
not tell
A
Om
family
Davis
who
about
did
this.
this during one of their vacations and ended up spending $1.5 million on their little in-home designer store during their vacation. In fact, I want to super clarify that all of these examples are based on real reporting, real examples from our interviews with people who work with the ultra rich. Many of them don't want to appear and be quoted in this video, but we're grateful that they let us in on some of these lifestyle details of how people
Bro,
live.
bringing a Balenciaga store to your house. No, I didn't say they shut down the Balenciaga store at the mall, gang. Bringing the store to your house is bar for bar the richest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And travel at this wealth level. Anyway,
Actual
I'm Javier.
insanity.
And at this point, it's hard to know what to spend my money on that Scott can't. Like, we can both buy a $91,000 shirt, which sales tax alone on this puppy is like $8 grand. $9 million painting. There's a few things that are out of reach for Scott that I can buy, maybe like this nearly $3 million bottle of whiskey. What I can do at this level is pay for hyper exclusive experiences, like paying my favorite band, the Eagles, to fly in and play me a show. I'll pay millions of dollars for this, and in fact, they've negotiated only playing Hotel California one time, but it was totally worth it. And yes, that $6 million
What the
private concert
fuck?
is a real example too. Anyway, let's go back to security, because now that I'm a billionaire,
What
I'm a
the
little more
fuck?
well-known, and my security team has grown.
I'd rather make $21,000 a year than be a billionaire. Too much stress. Yo, Garcia, stop with the fucking rage bait, man.
But I'm also starting to get a little more paranoid, thinking about how I'm planning for something apocalyptic. We rich people think about this a lot. What if we lose it all? My vast wealth is in the market, in the economy, and if order breaks down, it could be worth nothing. So I'm going to invest in some backup plans. A bunch of land
Pre-New
in
Zealand.
upstate New York. And in fact, I'm even working on a bunker. I love bunkers. This thing's
Or
got
Hawaii.
food storage, a decontamination shower, a high-tech air filtration system, 4 bedrooms, a hair salon, a shooting range. Listen, I'm not a prepper, but you know, just in case, and I've got the money to do it, why wouldn't I? I'm worth $1 billion. So at this point, I kind of have an army of tax
I
professionals.
work in retail, sending stuff to a bunch of celebrities and billionaires is very common. I'm constantly dealing with certain celebrities. Celebrities make sense though, right? Because there's a marketing aspect. If they wear it, right? That's how the Boo-Boos got popular. One K-pop person just wore the shit, right? Even politicians make sense because they have power and control. Maybe you want some rules changed for yourself. But just straight rich people? Like just a random, like any run-of-the-mill billionaire? Like what the fuck would the benefit be for that? Betsy, thank you for that 5 gifted subs. You get some notoriety. But you see how silly that sounds, bro? You gave a nigga a $30,000 package for some notoriety? That's dick suck. That low-key is dick suck, bro. That actually is dick suck.
Optimizing my wealth so I can pay as few taxes as possible.
Potential
and Congress
investment.
just passed some legislation that's really helping
okay,
me out
maybe.
on this.
Yeah, maybe investment. If they need it, yeah.
At this level, I start to get weird and creative with my money. Maybe I'll buy a hotel chain. Or maybe I'll invest in bubbles. No, not those kind of bubbles. Bubbles is the name of my thoroughbred horse that I bought for $3 million. I paid millions of dollars, and then I had to, of course, build a home and a bunch of stables for Bubbles, and I had to like get a trainer and feed and care and medical attention. It's a lot of money, but it's a business expense. And Bubbles is a depreciating asset on my balance sheet. I'm supposed to try to make a profit off of Bubbles, but really I'm doing it because on race day, I love showing up to watch him race. Get to hang out with my friends, spend some time at the track, throw a big party, and watch Bubbles race. Come on, boy, come on.
$3 million for a horse? Hey, y'all don't remember the horse we had in the UK back when we had the AMP house in the UK for a couple weeks? That horse was worth $2 million. It's basically exactly what he's saying right now. They built out a whole ranch and a house for a $2 million racehorse. Remember Daddy? Y'all remember Daddy, right? Yeah, that was a $2 million racehorse.
Bubbles.
When does a private island get bought? Maybe that's at $100
I'm
billion.
losing a lot of money on Bubbles, but honestly, I'm not that stressed because this is more of a hobby, and all of these losses I can write off to lower my tax bill. I'm actually doing the same kind of hobby thing on a much bigger scale. I bought an NBA team. I'm able to write these players off as depreciating assets, even though the team is growing and making money. All of this helps my tax rate be lower than the players who play for me, and even lower than the guy serving beer in the stands. ProPublica did a great analysis on that, by the way. But yeah, anyway, all of this is legal. Like, I'm not breaking any rules. And honestly, it's really fun. And look, I have the best seats in the house. Oh, and by the way, I still pay a lot of taxes. My businesses pay corporate taxes and income taxes and payroll taxes and property taxes and sales taxes. I contribute massively in dollar terms, and my businesses generate huge amounts of tax revenue and jobs, and I took a risk in building my wealth, and when I sell or die, the government takes another giant cut. I'm paying plenty. And in fact, I'm paying so much that I'm gonna use some of my influence to try to change that.
Yep, pretty much.
I've got my eye on a Senate candidate. I've contributed $20 million to his campaign to get him reelected, and he won.
Nah, he don't have that much money though. Like, hold on, wait. He doesn't have that much money, my nigga. He's spending $20 million on a candidate, $3 million on a horse. Then you gotta build out the ranch and shit, a few more million. Nigga has 7 different properties, just bought a private jet, bought a fucking yacht for 10 M's. He has $1 billion, yes, but I mean, at that rate, he's running out of money in goddamn 10 years. I mean, even those things alone probably totals up to like, come on, the bro had a Balenciaga store at the crib. He at least ran through $100 million already since he started talking.
Later, and Congress is working on a bill. It could have big ramifications.
And he bought a fucking NBA team!
Business and therefore my net worth. And so I'm gonna call in my favor to the senator who I donated so much money to help re-elect. I need him to insert 8 words into this massive bill to allow my business to qualify for a huge deduction. He does it. Last second, and I just saved hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. 20 million bucks to get this guy elected in exchange for hundreds of millions of dollars in savings? That sounds like a good investment. Thanks, Congress. My financial
That should be
advisors
illegal,
have been
bro.
telling me that it's time
That
for
should
me
be
not
illegal,
to be a
straight
rich
up.
person, but to become a philanthropist, to give away my money and to save some taxes in the process. How about, let's see, what can I give away? Well, I've got this really nice art collection. An appraiser said that it was worth $130 million. I'm gonna donate this, but I'm not gonna donate it to like a public gallery. I'm gonna donate it to my own family's private nonprofit foundation. And as long as I make this art accessible to the public, I can write off the $130 million from my taxes over several years. Okay, so I have to make all this art accessible to
there's
the
no way
tax
that's
write-off.
not illegal.
What counts as accessible?
The
Luckily,
entire
IRS
130
isn't
million,
super
you can write it off?
specific, so I've decided to open up the art room to the public, but just in kind of random 2-hour slots that
Come on, like, if he gets audited, there's no way he doesn't get super slammed by the IRS, my nigga. You can't write off 130 M's because you have an open art gallery. You donate it to your own family's nonprofit. That sure feels like a thing that in an audit, they would slam dunk you for, bro. He said over time. Oh, okay. Even then, that's kind of fucking outrageous, man. I wonder how much taxes a billionaire would pay given all this activity. Because he's mentioning all the ways they're saving money on taxes. But he also said they pay this tax, that tax, this tax, that tax. I wonder how much of their revenue they are expecting yearly to pay in taxes.
Need a lottery to get an access to. There'll be only guided tours on random Wednesdays, no regular hours,
Like, is
no
it over
self-guided
50
tours.
mil?
That's accessible, right?
No.
I'm taking the tax write-off. That work, guys?
Nice approach.
No.
And yes, that is a real example of philanthropy really being vanity projects with no public benefit. Thanks again to ProPublica for their great reporting on it. Okay, moving on. Now, there are billionaires who give to real causes that benefit real people, who give away a large amount of their fortune to actually change the world for the better. But it's also very common for billionaires to use foundations and philanthropy as tax shelters and vanity projects. And the IRS doesn't really come down on these people very often. Oh, I just got an email saying I'm going to Switzerland. Because I donated to the presidential campaign, the president is assigning me to be the ambassador to Switzerland. And I know the president said that he wouldn't be appointing his donors to these types of roles, but here I am. Seems like a lot of us donors are getting appointed. This is great. Let's get the jet ready to go to Switzerland. So you can see that my fortune at this point buys me anything I want.
Being an ambassador?
But it's actually starting to be more and more about buying influence in society and politics. But this is just the beginning. Let's see what happens when we 100x this. Okay, things are about to get kind of nuts because we're about to 100x this pile. To go from 1 billion to $100 billion.
Okay. Alright, I'm a capitalist, bro. Okay? But even a capitalist could look at this and say this should not be allowed, bro. There just simply is no, like, even the last, even a billionaire is outrageous. 100 billion. Then we're just like, when you put it in scale, it's just such a silly amount of money. There's just no. How do you even justify that? And I'm not talking about niggas that own companies and stuff like that, and their money's tied to their company. Like, Elon's a good example. Elon probably has plenty cash, right? But all his equity, all his $100 billion is tied to companies that he still owns and controls. But he uses that equity to leverage other purchases, right? If I'm not mistaken, he bought Twitter by leveraging his stake in other companies. And so technically, he's just using it like cash. Why would you want this much, bro? It's just a workaround. If there was no taxes in life, he would just. This is so dumb. We've gotten to the point in the video where it's not even motivational. It's just like dumb. Like, well, let's see how dumb shit gets at 100 billion.
There's less than 20 people who have this much net worth or more. They're almost all Americans who started technology companies. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has anywhere from 4 to 5 times this much, depending on the day. And at this point, there's no way I can convince you how much money this is. Like, you would have to combine the incomes of over 7.5 million Americans toiling away, earning the median salary of $63,000 a year. 7.5 million people earning the amount of money controlled by one guy. Hi, my name is Bradley. I founded a technology company decades ago, and it is now one of the most valuable companies on earth. I still run it actively, and most of my $100 billion fortune is in the form of a huge amount of stock in this company. How do I even think about where to live? I could go the direction of Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani and build my own personal 27-story skyscraper, complete with a hanging garden and a 6th-floor garage where I can store 168 cars. Or I could collect a portfolio of trophy homes all over the world.
I'll buy this one in Florida for $173 million.
It's got 33 bedrooms and 39 bathrooms.
One of his many homes has 33 bed. Okay, actually, like genuinely, no. Forget the money for a second. What's the point of a house with 33 bedrooms, my nigga? Who are you housing, bro? Who are you housing? What are you gonna do with 33 different bedrooms, bro? Why the extra 6 bathrooms? So when a house has more bathrooms than bedrooms, rich people like that more. And as I understand it, it's convenience. Okay? So you're never too far from a bathroom. And most of the time, there's more bathrooms than bedrooms. The home is better built as well. If there's way more bedrooms than bathrooms, usually the house is poorly built.
That is a lot of toilets. I'll buy a spot in London, but I'll make sure to buy all the properties around it, so I've got a lot of privacy. That one cost me $202 million. I'll grab a bunch of property along this coastline in Malibu. I'll buy this private golf course next to my 19,000 square foot mansion, even though I don't really play golf. And I'll even pay $86 million for a Zen temple in Japan, because I'm super into Japan. Let's add to the list buying this entire island.
We got to the island part.
Hawaii. All in all, my big portfolio of houses around the
Potato
world
chips have cancer.
adds up to about
bro.
$2 billion worth of homes. But if I'm like Larry Ellison, whose homes all of those I just mentioned are, this isn't even 1% of my net worth. But I don't want to...
Oh my God. That's one person, bro. That was one person. That wasn't a hypothetical. That wasn't a fucking hypothetical, bro.
All of those I just mentioned are. This isn't even 1% of my net worth. But I don't want to just buy homes. Maybe I want to buy a social media company.
There we go.
I'm really into influence right now, and influencing the media is a great way to influence society. And this is where I can take the loan thing that we talked about earlier to a whole new level. Yes, I could sell a bunch of my stock to get cash to buy the social media company. Or I can do what Elon Musk did and take out a giant loan. Billions of dollars that I don't have to pay taxes on, that is based on my vast fortune. Musk was about to take out a loan of $12.5 billion, but then ended up taking about half that to buy Twitter. And this is what's wild, is the loan thing, at this level, I can plan to just do this forever. I never have to pay off these loans. I never have to sell off any of my stock. I could keep paying down the interest so it doesn't compound, but even if I don't, my fortune grows way faster than this debt accrues. And the real benefit of this happens when I get close to the end of my life. It's been decades. I have all these loans. They've grown, accrued interest. My fortune has grown way faster. And at the end of my life, I could sell a bunch of my portfolio, get a bunch of cash, and pay off all my loans before I die, so I don't leave my children saddled with all my loans. But I don't want to do that, because I would have to pay a huge amount of taxes if I did. And if you haven't noticed, I don't like taxes. My goal now, as I get close to the end of my life, is to set my family up to inherit my vast fortune in the most advantageous way possible. So I max out the gifting exemption. There's like $14 million I can do there, but that's like a drop in the bucket. I'll set up some trusts that technically remove control of my wealth and pays out a certain amount to the named beneficiaries, like my children and grandchildren, over a period of time, potentially forever. But watch this. My portfolio is a vast fortune that is mostly loaded with unrealized gains, meaning this is all money that has grown in the market. I haven't paid taxes on it yet because I haven't taken it out. The moment I take it out, I have to pay taxes. But what I can do is when I die, I can give this giant fortune to my daughter, let's say. And the moment I give it to her, boom, the clock resets. She inherits that fortune, and suddenly, it's as if she has zero gains. Meaning she could sell this entire portfolio on day one and pay no taxes. Those unrealized, untaxed gains?
There's no way. That's like too obvious of a loophole, bro. There's no way you avoid billions of dollars in taxes by just giving it to your daughter, gang. It has to be more complicated than that. I refuse to believe the loophole is that obvious. Cause then, why would everybody not do that? Why would everybody not do that? Anybody with money to give to their kids, why would everybody not do that?
Disappear, never to be taxed. And yes, there is a big estate tax that I have to pay when I die, but my army of wealth managers have figured out a way to buy an insurance policy that will pay that tax for me. Anyway, I'm not dead yet. Let's talk about yachts. Because at this point, at $100 billion, I can get the top of the line. Look at this 600-foot long, 600...
Now that is hijacked. Now that is hijacked.
$100 million yacht. This thing has a crew of 80 people. It can cross the Atlantic without refueling. It's got a pool, a helipad, a movie theater, a golf training room, because I gotta practice my swing when I'm out in the Atlantic.
What else
I
you
pay
gonna
my
do?
crew super
Crossing
well.
the
Many of my crew stay on board my yacht for years. Oh, and did I mention that it's not just the yacht? I also have this little shadow barge that follows my yacht around when we're out to sea. It carries extra fuel so we can be out on the water longer. It also keeps some of my car collection. Oh, what's that? You're burning to hear about my car collection? I have 2,000 cars. This giant collection is worth around $200 million. It's kind of my hobby. Another real example from this billionaire. And just when I thought I had the top of the line, there's something else I got my eye on. This super yacht
Bro, they just invent shit for fucking billionaires, gang. What the fuck is an air yacht?
airship crossover that's straight out of Star Trek. I want this thing. Especially because the article says that, quote, crossovers can be oodles of fun when done right. I want oodles of fun. My super yacht's starting to look boring because I have to stick to the sea. But with this crossover, I can go anywhere because it literally turns into a blimp and goes onto land, and it costs about $1 billion. And yes, it's got all the bells and whistles, a pool, a sauna, a gym, a helipad, tenders, and a nice big garage for my cars. And yeah, we gotta talk about my private jet.
Yo, taking your car into the sky with a blimp is some shit.
So sorry to bother you while you do this stream thing. You actually can, Betty?
No. Well, you'd have to ask Caleb.
Okay.
Sorry, private jets. I have 3 of them, and they're all huge. My favorite one is this one. This is the ACJ 350. It's got a cabin that's 167 feet long.
That's a jet?
Over 3,000 square feet of floor space on this sucker. I bought this thing for $360 million, and I spent another $100 million just to renovate the interior because I wanted a spa on board. I mean, totally worth it, right? Oh, and on a more grave note, I had to make a deal with my pilot that in case of the apocalypse, which I think about a lot, I'll let him and his family come with me to my compound. Like if we have to escape, I need to guarantee that I have a pilot to fly me away in case like the mob comes knocking. Where will I fly? Oh, I've got some options. I've got bunkers all over the place. Some of them have airstrips, so I can just fly right to them. My favorite one is in New Zealand, where a lot of us ultra wealthy are burying bunkers. This thing is buried underground. It's got a pantry, a gun room, a surgery station. This thing only cost me $8 million to build.
That's it? Dude,
but that's not including the couple $1 million I had to invest in New Zealand for several years to qualify for an investor visa, so they'll like let me into their airspace. My other bunkers include huge pieces of land in Hawaii, where I have a huge full-time staff, including a person who raises my Wagyu cattle. Just like my buddy Mark Z, he's got one too. We love Wagyu and hydrofoils. When I say and hydrofoils, cut to him on the hydrofoil out in the... We got this, Mark? Okay, but I'm not all doom and gloom apocalyptic. It's just a backup plan. I have hobbies too, but my hobbies have turned into kind of reality bending projects. Like, I want to go to space.
I feel super connected to love.
I want to create my own libertarian nation in the South Pacific. I've got the money to do it. I have like more money than a lot of nations. Or I could throw my money at wild, innovative ideas like making human brains talk to computers or finding ways for humans to live forever. My security team is now huge. Dozens and dozens of professionals, many of them former Navy SEALs. And it's hitting me that at this level, I have so much money I can actually make a huge impact in the world. I have the ability to give away over $19 billion of my wealth, no strings attached, to help change the lives of underrepresented people like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife did. I could put billions of dollars into eradicating infectious diseases and focusing on improving maternal and child health funding like Bill and Melinda Gates have done. It's a lot of power that I have to affect what public health initiatives get done. Or I could pour my philanthropic money into foundations that give me tax benefits and serve my own ventures and are completely controlled by me and my family. I could do either. And my level of influence is not just in...
You know, it's so crazy. Like, we got to the point in the video where, like, if he says he bought something for $10 million, I'll be like, oh, that's not that bad. Because I just got done looking at $1 billion blimp and a $400 million jet. Oh, you bought a bunker for $8 million? It's not even that bad, actually. Like, you probably don't even have to tell people you did it. And he probably just forgot that he had, like, I did spend $8 million on that.
Philanthropic causes I can fund. I also rub shoulders with the most influential decision makers in the world. Did I mention that as a part of my real estate portfolio, I've got this huge swath of beach in Florida where I've created an enclave for the rich. It's right next to the president's Florida residence, and it's where I make sure that I rub shoulders with the right people. This election cycle, I'm going to spend almost $300 million on getting my favorite candidate elected to be president. That seems like a lot. Is that legal? Actually, yes. Look, I have a front row seat to the inauguration, and the president is giving me the job I've always wanted, which is taking a chainsaw to the federal government.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
Whew, wow, well that was quite the journey. If there's one thing I've learned on my journey from $100 million to $100 billion, it's that wealth begets more wealth. That's why I did all those like tax calculations and debt to show you that when you have wealth and ownership of assets in a capitalistic system, you become impervious. You can build a fortress of wealth that just keeps growing. And then once you have that fortress, it allows you to influence government and policy and media that then serves your interests to get more wealth. All while opportunities, wages, and resources stagnate for the majority. This isn't a broken system. This is a system working exactly how it was designed by policy choices and decisions. And it might strike you as unfair. I think it is, but I also think it's really dangerous. It's exactly the type of concentration that creates a politics of grievance and anger and resentment and hopelessness, all so that a few people can have access to their fancy boats and exclusive parties.
Bro, that's a good video, nigga. Oh my god. Fuck. Bro, that's a good vid. I think greed is like the nastiest trait like somebody could have. I think greed is like the most evil thing that somebody could be. I think, but it's like you like ambition is one thing, but it's like at what point though, bro? Like anybody could look at the broke nigga in this video, the $100 million guy, and say he has everything and more. But the way that he would see himself is that he's at the bottom of the totem pole. Nigga has to pay $22,000 to rub elbows with the wealthy. Wow, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched the How Many Works video that literally made me depressed, bro. And the premise was, nothing's wrong The system is working exactly as intended. And he explained why. And I was like, damn. And there's definitely like a few exception cases where people could generate wealth, but generally speaking though, bro, watch it. I watched it. It was like an hour and something long video though. It was more like a podcast. It was like a bunch of videos combined together. But the premise just made me think like, damn, like if you're working like a wage, you're gonna be replaced and left behind. They already estimate that AI is gonna take out like 30% of jobs. Dead ass though, like they don't need us anymore, bro. They're gonna have like AI content creators, and the AI is gonna drive the trucks. There's gonna be AI servers. There already kind of is. It's AI everything, bro. They don't need us no more. How you gonna make money, bro? How you gonna live? They're gonna have to pay everybody universal basic income, the bare minimum to survive. And they're gonna tell us that's a good system, bro. DDG said something like a year ago. He got a lot of hate for it. He basically said something to the nature of everybody should be an entrepreneur. And a lot of people fought him on it. But after I got done watching that video, I thought to myself, if you don't make yourself irreplaceable, gang, in the next 5 years, they're about to replace you. And these niggas are the ones changing, not Johnny Harris, but these are the people that are going to make it happen because it serves them. And then to wrap it all the way around to my true main point, they don't ever want anybody to see that. So they're going to tell you the problem is immigrants or Muslims or brown people or black people. It's the Africans. They're going to tell you it's the natives or it's them. Those aren't your enemies, bro. Those are your friends, my nigga. I'm telling you, it's literally a distraction, bro. And propaganda works. It works effectively. It's easy to convince niggas of shit on social media. And that's the scariest part, is that it's working. And so they're going to sit there and divide everybody. Because if you're divided, you can never change the status quo. How are you going to change it? This video is kind of eye-opening, bro. Straight up. Really making me think. It's almost like unbelievable to think like, it's so, we hear billionaire all the time, billionaire, Forbes list. But it's like, it's almost unfathomable to like try and think about how these types of people live their lives, what they want and what they're doing, how they're motivated. Man, I'm very fascinated by all this, bro. God damn, bro, that's a good vid, bro. That's a really good vid. Fuck, that's a good vid.